Somewhere in the distant reaches of space. I love how it says Theseus. There's a little ship of Theseus thing, and Jake's little bits are marked out. Just look at that man's. Look at him. Surprise, bitch. I bet there was a moment just now when you thought to yourself, oh, thank God, thank the Maker. Think literally whatever the hell the Calcatran entity was, is now, or perhaps has always been responsible for piloting this story. Whoever it is whose cataclysmic fingers hang suspended and quivering with anticipation somewhere beyond the curtain of the world, whose hunched form lurks forever in the shadows, its work seemingly unimpeded by a very real threat of a chronic lumbago, making no sound, giving no speech to thought, save for that fateful moment where one first elongated phalanx, and then another, crosses the threshold between thought and reality, when 10 declamatory digits, possessed for the moment of a zealous frenzy, reached down into the air stir with the heart-rending cacophony of an overly rambunctious mechanical keyboard. Whichever accursed species of demiurgic figure that is, you thought, let's just thank the ever-living fuck they decided to call it night and get out the drawing tablet instead. Finally, this story is back on the rails. Maybe we can get back to what things were like in the good old days, where boys were brave, girls were guileful, authors were alliterative in various dubious states of non-un/double death, and this comic made at least a little bit of sense to more or less everybody. No more dealing with narrators, unreliable and not. No more embittered scrimmages over the bounding metafictional reality within which everything transpires. No more stupid tang-tinted text. Their collective sigh of relief is deafening. Well, tough shit. This sort... Dirt? What are you doing in there? Ah, fuck. Hang on a second. Gotta take care of this. Rose's voice echoes tinnily out of my newly alchemized computer-integrated shades. The infidelity of the transmission is due to her voice being slightly too high definition for the speakers to reproduce it faithfully. There's an audio format even better than analog, it turns out, and that's what replaced Rose's vocal cords when I scooped up her rapidly dissipating soul and installed it in a robot body. I have it on authority that decanting is sometimes necessary to ensure a line is at its best. I like to think the same was ultimately true of her. Oh, nothing important. To the extent that anything that Uriah do is even capable of being unimportant anymore. Which extent is admittedly teetering a few microns shy of Jack Dick about now. The point is, don't worry about it. I'm just doing a bit of housekeeping. Well, pardon me for interrupting your prior engagement. Don't let me get in the way of all the dusting you must be doing. I just imagined you wearing an apron over your god-tier outfit, and almost with my facial fuselage buckle in a way to approximate a fleeting smile. Fuck, you got me. Your uncanny seer powers are at work once again. I'm just waiting here for an errant gust of wind to jostle my petticoats, unfortuitously exposing my undergarments to the lurid gaze of whatever prurient peeper might be watching. Don't look! I cry in futile embarrassment. But the damage is done. My fragile anime purity has been shamelessly violated. Ah, yes, the animes. A bottomless resource of good-natured humor. That ungodly noise of screeching metal we just heard was my titanium-reinforced thorax crumpling into a cartoonish posture of helpless mirth. Alright, we get it. You are literally a robot. No need to keep pointing out every chance you get. I got enough of this with the autoresponder. I'm just playing along. One of the fundamentals of bad science fiction is that any artificial beings must make their inorganic nature known at every juncture they can. The overly precise and completely meaningless statistics that you pull out of your ass on the fly also count. Oh, absolutely. That's one of the first things you just sort of spontaneously learn when being booted up. For example, I've calculated by making these remarks, I raised the base level of amusement in all my conversations by 36%. Well, I don't personally find them very funny. No, but I do. It averages out, you see. Just, my man's. All this will be relevant. Okay, but like, what are you actually calling me about? I just thought you might like to know we're getting pretty close to your chosen crash site. We can head down to the planet below as soon as Terezi's finished working out how we do that. How to land? Wait, crash site? Yes. Among the features of the ship that were considered indispensable by its creator, which included multiple fully stocked drinks cabinets, a movie theater, and an 8-lane shooting range, a landing gear appears to have fallen just a little outside the realm of vital. Or rather, hurtled into the ground. Like we'll be doing in case the message wasn't clear. Ah, gotcha. God damn it, English. Assuming your busy work is more or less done by now, I'll get Teresi to set a course, if she hasn't wandered away from the helm by now. She's been getting pretty impatient. So, I just want to get this on complete lockdown before I strap myself into the safety harness we'd all better hope wasn't also a differently designed schematic of this stupid ship. We're letting Terezi smash us into the planet we've been hunting for 3 years. Should she even be driving this thing? I was such a chud, Dirk. Of the three of us, she has by far the most experience operating any kind of flying vessel, and just much, if not more, experience of crashing them. Besides, it's not like the two of us have anything to worry about. It's Terezi that needs to be careful. She's functionally mortal, remember? You mean to say that you don't think we'd be in peril if it came to it? There's nothing about our situation that strikes you as falling within the bounds of precarity as far as the rules are concerned. Oh, right, you're right. I suppose I hadn't thought of that. But I think we can remain calm in the knowledge that nothing particularly heroic is going on right now that I'm aware of. Right. Give me a couple more minutes here and then we can head planetside. There's a few stray dust motes left to eradicate. Just don't get too attached to having everything organized neatly, will you? Eat. Rose signs off the call without much fuss. She knows that I'm not really cleaning, but doesn't care enough to know what I'm actually doing. I know that she knows this, but I don't care enough that she knows, nor do I care that she doesn't give a shit. We're all just here, not giving a flying fuck like a normal, functioning group of people. Oh, no, right, I don't have to do that explicitly. It's easy to get in the habit of narrating everything, even when it's a bit creatively redundant. This is where the advantage of visuals comes in, to make life as an omniscient overseer a little bit less tedious. I can just do whatever, and we can all see it happen, and nobody has to fight with a testy cherub lady for control of their own legs or anything. No need to pull a whole thesaurus out of my ass just so I can go to the bathroom. Seriously, it's a big relief. That doesn't mean this isn't still going to be a thing, though. Sometimes retreating back into the warm, welcoming folds of traditional prose is just going to be the best way forward, and someone whose mind is uniquely capable of understanding this conceit, I'll be the determining factor as to when and where it happens. I think that's more than reasonable, and yes, I am capable of being reasonable. All in all, I think that you'll find, as far as narrators go, I'm an excellent, On second thought, maybe that's a bit of a problematic phrase. Yeah, yikes, that one's got a sordid history. Best we steer clear of it. We're all lucky I'm allowed to make those kinds of sensitivity judgments on everyone's behalf. Speaking of which, I think it's time I started undoing some of the more egregious mistakes this story has been subjected to over the years. Yes, I'm talking about that guy. The other orange one. Remember him? Briscoe got stalked by him a bit, and it was uncomfortable for everyone concerned. Yeah. Anyways, the point is that he fucked up big time, and I'm here to clean up the horseshit. It's time to get the story back on the rails, back to what it was always supposed to be. I know it, and you somehow always known it too. There was something else, some other route that Homestuck was meant to take, but then didn't. A way that wouldn't have spent so much time dicking around with stuff nobody cares about. Like, seriously, what do they have to sit through so much talking about everyone's most intimate and private feelings for 200,000 fucking words? That would never have happened in Act 1. Where did it all go wrong? I've had some time to think about these kinds of problems, and to come up with a solution. And I'm prepared to do what he could in order to save Paradox 6 from the destruction brought upon it. I'll do what it takes and don't think I won't. The author is dead. Long live the author. Look, I know what you're really craving. I've been studying canon, or rather, what's left of it, and I think I found it. The critical moment, in the wake of which everything started to take its nosedive into the protracted, endless fog of sheer insufferability we got saddled with near the end. This was the single most crucial error in the process that led to the present situation. The day when the story was wrestled screaming from the arms of its roots like a bawling infant, then carried helplessly away, from then on to be raised according to the whims of a masochistic menace with no thought for you, the common fan. So now I propose we turn back the clock to a better era, and take back what was rightfully ours. No longer will the way forward be subject to tyrannical rule. No more shall the will of the masses be cajoled and browbeaten by the impervious Husnaski diktat. Never again will we have to ignore the terrible beating of wings as the great moth of titillation lets the humors of an enormous, terrible old beggar, whose vulturous, leathery vice grip holds us close and whispers, "I know best," in the dead of night. It's time. My name is Dirk Strider. What will I do? Just commands in the box above, Dirk Strider. Okay, that's enough, Dirk Strider. Dirk, commune. channeling my full potential as an ascended player of heart. I expand my consciousness to commune with the boundless force of collective willpower that is the Internet. My mind floods with its divine potency, a million formless cries coalescing into a sequence of discrete, formal instructions. It is a maelstrom as chaotic as it is deafening, and from this formless, uninterrupted spate of hard, embellished data, a single suggestion takes form, as if bubbling up from a vast, infinite ocean of possibility. It is a whispered prayer to a compassionate God whose ear attends faithfully the will of his believers. Okay, let's see what your chuckle fucks came up with. Dirk, stop making Homestuck. Dirk, stop making Homestuck. You know what? You've convinced me. There's no way I'm fucking with this shit. I'm nobody's puppet, of course. But this is going to be a little fun we had together. I'll call back to simpler times. I just wanted to play a game and you're going to be a part of it. That submission box to my olive branch, dipped tentatively in at arm's length into the trash furnace of creative potential known as online. But I should have known better. People think you can run a story like this. This must be about the stupidest idea anyone's ever come up with. I'll just have to make the commands myself from here on out. Seemed to work okay for the other guy. Dirk, examine room. See, that wasn't difficult. Seriously, what's wrong with you people? This is my private study on board the Theseus, a light-speed capable vessel built for tearing around the cosmos like there's no tomorrow. This is where I keep my prized artifacts, canonical keepsakes, and other assorted objects of historical and or artistic pertinence. Some of these were really hard to come by, requiring creative use of my full faculty as an ascended heart player. The rest was just stolen from my friends' houses when they weren't looking. It's nothing they'll miss, though. I also keep my flora of the succulent persuasion in here, so as I can keep an eye on them. Make sure nobody's eating any. It's happened before. This is where I come in when I want to sit and think about important plot details, which is pretty much any time I'm not training or lying down mountain fillets of philosophical shit with Rose. It's important to have things around to remind me of where we came from. History, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, needs not be lived again. Maya Angelou. The ship itself is being borrowed in perpetuity and has served as our home for the past 3 years. It wasn't originally called Theseus, or anything else for that matter. The prior owner didn't think that kind of thing was worth the effort, but I know better. Speaking of names, I've been workshopping potential designations for the new brand, which we're apparently going to crack the ship against like a bottle of champagne on the prow of a Virgin steamer. I still need to talk it over with Rose, though. Dirk, contemplate equine iconography. Beautiful, isn't it? A piece of this quality deserves nothing less than the pride of place in my private collection. Am I being sincere about that? Who the fuck can even say? A parting gift from an old flame. It was given to one of my splinters in a distant time when burning up in my possession be a lot to complicate shit I don't want to get into. The painting used to belong in one of the most powerful men in Earth's history, and now it belongs to one of the few people to ever hold him in the palm of their hand. It came with a note which has since been misplaced, but I know the words by heart. Dear Dirk, in memory of our precious time together, when you look at it, think of me, and be reminded that while we breathe, we hope. B.O. Paint. Paper. Get to work. Nah, this is face paint. Not for painting pictures, unless those pictures happen to be on a face, I guess. This set of paints and the charter mates of my horned headband are the only surviving relics of the first and last world interspecies role-playing session we ever attempted on Earthsea. Calliope got it into their head that dressing up in cosplay would be a fun community activity. Bantus had some uncharitable things to say about the idea, and for once in his life I think he was right. This thing was an unmitigated disaster from start to finish. A complete bloodbath. I'd spent months perfecting my character. Countless late nights were devoted to scrupulously studying the intricacies of old Artonian culture. Every inch of my body was coated in cloying, meticulously sealed gray paint. Yes, even there, I know you were thinking it. It was the perfect persona. I was a high-blood called... No, on second thoughts, let's not get into it. Some things are too painful to remember. I want to draw attention to Dave's dick horns. I love them. Inspect delicious houseplants. 3 years is no small amount of time. I spent a lot of it in pursuit of a greater understanding of combat and philosophy. That doesn't mean there wasn't room for life and love in the equation, too. Plants are basically the ideal friends. They don't constantly question your decisions or try and undermine your authority, or suggest that perhaps you should try talking about your feelings every once in a while. Plants lie down in the dirt and take it, metaphorically speaking. I've genetically engineered these succulents to make them more hardy in a low-gravity environment. They'll got drastically discolored as a side effect, but frankly, they look better like this. The downside is that I'm not the only person who's taken a liking to them. And speaking of which, delicious houseplants? Oh, god damn it. Inspect delicious houseplants. Yeah. You should have seen your face. It was as plain and featureless as ever, just like the cloying tang of your overbearing orangeade prose. How does it feel to be dancing to someone else's tune for a change, you poofy-panted pomegranate princeling? Heh. Terezi, always a pleasure. I see you found the command terminal. Please feel free to stop fucking around with it right about now. You're messing things up before we even get started. Hmm. I wasn't finished. I've considered your generous offer very carefully, but I'm afraid I'll have to decline. Put yourself in my shoes, Dirk. Except don't actually do that, because I don't want you to sully these delicious red slippers with your pseudophorus ninja feet. It seems to me like letting me boss you around for a few minutes is the least you could do for what probably amounts to the most boring intergalactic voyage in the history of space travel. And considering that one of my two prior experiences involved scouring the fractured, disintegrating corpse of Paradox Space for what felt like an eternity, it's not like there was much of a bar to clear. There's only so many times a girl can sniff her way through the in-flight selection of East Earth animation before she gets sick of the smell. I'm sorry to hear that, although in my fairness, you came along of your own volition. It's not my fault the journey to live up to your expectations. That's a lie so filthy just smelling it makes me want to go throw up into the nearest toilet. I had very little say in the matter. We both know that you manipulated me into it with your princely wiles. Princely wiles? Are you flirting with me? Is this a Caligulus thing you're going for here? Ew, no. I'm flattered, but I don't really go for aliens, or girls, or alien girls for that matter. Two yucks don't make a yum. Excuse me while I wipe the spittle off my chin from another impromptu bar fest. I'm talking about your Genesis frog-sized inability to shut up, which seems to have somehow reached a mass so critical it's opened up a wormhole in the fabric of reality itself. You started doing that thing again, and it's completely insufferable. Oh, sorry. I forget how easy it is for you to pick up on it. Imagine they're standing right next to you, with the megaphone pressed snugly up against your infundibulor oral protrusion. Now imagine I proceed to drub you senseless with said megaphone, and then direct an apology to your slumped, twitching body through it. That is what whatever you're doing feels like. It's less that I can pick up on it, and more that it assaults my very consciousness. You have all the subtlety of a Cullingford to the thoracic exoskeletal plateau. And it's hardly surprising that I can hear you so clearly. How do you mean? I just assumed just because you're a seer, it seemed appropriate somehow you'd be able to sense those kind of things. Well, that's pretty obviously wrong, shit for specs. If it was because I'm a seer, then how come Rose doesn't know about it too? I mean, maybe she does, but if so, she's somehow putting on the best act I've ever seen. No, I'm pretty sure it's because of her aspects. What, heart and mind? Mind and heart, yes. The two of us are opposites, right? When it comes to the aspects, opposing pairs effectively define each other on a fundamental level. Mind and heart, time and space. The two sides of the same coin. Or I guess 12 sides of the same 6 coins? Sounds complicated. Oh, fuck off. I know you're playing dumb to antagonize me. Well, I'm an antagonist now. That's what you do. Oh my god, get over yourself. I am begging you. What are you even doing right now? It's a bit hard to explain. If you're so bored, maybe you can help me out here. We can play a little game. I just needed to submit a few instructions into the terminal. Your wishes will be my commands. So, you just want me to, like, dom you with this command station for a while? If you wanted to phrase it in a way most calculated to awaken the hair-trigger psychoanalytical instincts of my slime daughter, then yes, I suppose you could say that. Oh dear, let's not rouse that sleeping pride beast just yet. Motion fucking seconded. Look, I'm not asking for much. Just a little light action to prepare us for the road ahead. Nothing too off the wall. You're a strange and funny girl, Terezi, but you're less likely than certain others to leave the equivalent of a steaming pile of horse manure in the submission box. Consider this little sum of executive power over my actions a planet warming gift. Spend it wisely. Why, Mr. Strider, your generosity knows no bounds, but I'm afraid you can't have another command just yet. You haven't had the one I already gave you. What, looking at these plants? I already did that. Inspected them good and fucking proper. Look, they've gone bright pink from how I've been scrutinizing them. They all seem perfectly fine. Wait. Computer. Enhance. Motherfucker. Yeah! Okay, we can move on now. I'm not sure I can move on. Some betrayals are just too painful. We've both gotten over worse. Yeah, fair enough. What's that little table next to you? That's not really a command, but okay. This is my kotatsu, a Japanese-style low table. A small heater is hidden under the repurposed blanket and can be used to keep warm in the colder months. In the freezing depths of interstellar space, however, this is basically all the time, so the heater is always on. I like to sit here when I'm drawing or reading. It's pretty cozy. On top is a drawing tablet, and over there is my katana. It said that both the pen is mightier than the sword, but I'd like to think they're both situation-dependent weaponry. Sheesh! Okay, I didn't ask for your entire sordid history with this adorable little piece of furniture. Or your dumb philosophical musings. Hey! I think that's my tablet! Don't look at me. That could be anybody's. Liberate Lalondian Library. That was a bit alliterative, but I think you're getting the hang of it. You want me to pick up this book, right? Does Rose know you've been using one of her novels to prop that disgustingly tacky chair? I'm still not an expert with Earth family etiquette, but that doesn't seem all that polite to me. Well, no, but have you read it? Yes, or at least I tried to. She gave me a copy too when she finished working on it last sweep. As far as books goes, it's very dense. Just dense enough to support the weight of some Baroque furniture, perhaps? God, even your silly book about horses is an easier read. And I had to get Rose to explain what half it even meant, especially all of those references to ancient Earth culture. I guess some of the magic is lost are not adequately boned the fuck up on several thousand years of human philosophy and like 4 dead languages, true. No, I meant the memes. Remember Longcat Jane? Completely incomprehensible. I could catalog the book into my MSPA modus. Forget hash maps, Pictionary, or any of that shit. This thing is where it's at. Oh, what the hell? The chair was supposed to fall over. I'm not sure I understand. Why would it? The 4 legs are all touching the floor. Try not to think about it too hard. Scream like a wiggler and tidy your desk. Well, if you insist. Ah, Dirk, you're not making this any fun at all. You're supposed to make a big deal about not doing this one. Okay, why? Because shut up is why. I don't know. Something told me that it would be the most appropriate course of action if you take based on the instruction. Appropriate? Maybe that's not the right word. Maybe it was just the thing that seemed funniest in the moment. Like I was setting you up for a joke and you didn't deliver. I wouldn't say I didn't deliver exactly. It just wasn't the joke you're expecting it to be when you started telling it. Some of the best jokes are like that. For someone who claims to know a lot about jokes, you sure have continued to say basically nothing funny ever. I'm not sure I can even imagine you smiling. Maybe your face would fall off if you tried. If so, it might just be the first funny thing that's ever happened to you. Ha. Ha. You know, I actually kind of resent the idea that I don't know how to loosen up or have fun. Basically, everyone thinks that about me, but they're wrong. It's just the kind of fun I'm naturally predisposed to is rather intense. Not many understand that when pleasure is taken seriously enough, it can easily mimic the appearance of business. Just as when irony is practiced with enough passion, it becomes indistinguishable from sincerity. Hear that, Dirt Kinnies? Mwah! Behold. Do you want to talk about it? Absolutely the fuck not. Okay. What even is all that stuff just lying around over there anyway? Are you arranging a shitty little art gallery on the floor? Not quite. It's something a bit more important than that. We've made some good progress by now, so here, let me show you something. Smell this, Terezi? This is a panel. Okay. Can you tell what it's depicting? Hang on. Need to get a little closer to the screen. No good. I'm having a hard time making out of the delectable rug you're standing on. That's alright. This actually helps me illustrate my point. The panel is a drawing of me showing the panel to you. Now what did I do there? You dropped it back on the floor again. Yeah, but in the panel, I'm still just standing there holding it up. In order to communicate what I did to anyone watching, you need another panel to show the result. Or I suppose they could listen in the conversation we're having right now and infer that dropped it from what we're saying. That would also work. In that case, the words write the information that the picture would have done without me having to pull up a whole new panel out my ass just so someone could confirm that yes, I did in fact drop the panel on the floor. That's the one thing I've always found difficult about making comics with Dave. You have to draw everything. Exactly. But sometimes visuals are a more effective way of doing things. So finding the right combination of words and pictures to communicate an idea efficiently is where the artistry lies. And sometimes that means dispensing one or the other entirely when appropriate. Like so. Ah, not again. Oh, simmer down. What I'm trying to communicate to Terezi here is that there really doesn't need to be a panel showing anything at all for a given view of the story. Obviously, most of you know this already, since lots of stories get by just, well, without a single visual element. For the sake of precedent, I'm saying that we can cloak the visuals entirely and continue with narration alone, replacing the panel with a block of text like this, which we can call a prattle from now on. Such a device will be vital going forward, and so I dedicate some time at the outset acclimatizing you to its effects. Its purpose is extremely practical. Things were going a little slowly for a while, but now we see how much we're able to accomplish just a few short statements. Terezi begins feeling a bit impatient with all this metaphysical discussion, and sets to turn her energy back towards that most noble of pursuits, pranksterism. She starts sending a constant stream of rapid-fire commands through the terminal, her fingers fluttering over the keys like the wings of 1,000 migratory monarch butterflies. And just as quickly, I spring into action, performing every last one of her instructions to the letter, no matter how brazen, physically strenuous, or narratively questionable. That way, the entire room is rearranged. Furniture is overturned, books are defaced, and posters desecrated. Objects are picked up, put down, discarded, combined, separated, and ejected from Siladexes in all manner of directions. So Reggie's debatements aren't confined merely to fucking around with the upholstery. Oh no. Her commands start to take a turn to the slapstick. Pratfalls, fears of contortion, and increasingly ridiculous facial expressions called for. She lets me undertake the most intense workout routine Paradox Space has ever seen, all while whistling the entire discography of the Swedish pop group ABBA, which she's taken a liking to for some godforsaken reason. And which coincidentally was the favorite cultural weapon of her imperious condescension back on Earth centuries ago. Mamma Mia, in particular, was repurposed as a sugar-coated propagandist piece, calling for a worldwide submission to the battle which is dictatorship. My, how can I resist ya? As the old saying goes. Various arcane and legendary dances are exhumed from the tomb of antiquity and formed with an anachronistically reckless abandon on every horizontal surface available. The Charleston, the mashed potato, all the numbers from Riverdance in alphabetical order. Then I expect to sit smack in the middle of the carpet and just begin to let myself silly. Just absolutely go all in, hold nothing back. Stop hitting yourself! Terezi cackles as for 30 uninterrupted minutes, I obediently clobber myself around the face until I'm pinker than the heart emblazoned on my chest. You're welcome. Okay, that was pretty good. See? I told you. I told you I could have fun. Yeah, you sure showed me, I guess. I'm glad I got to watch it all through the screen, too. I would have never believed you could actually do it all otherwise. Even though I still have no fucking clue what it is we're even doing here. Can you just hurry it up so we can finally get off this ship? Come to think of it, maybe I could just find this right now by typing the right command. I'd rather you didn't. It would be inelegant. Why do we even have this thing anyway? I thought they were for exiles to use. Well, normally they are. And normally those are the only people who would ever use them. A terminal's function is to act as a means of communication between two disparate parts of a time loop, a passage through which information can travel that aids in the loop's successful completion. And within the context of the game, that's all they're used for. But beyond that, they're convenient and effective means of subtle psychic suggestion at a distance. It doesn't seem all that subtle to me. Well, no, it's not. At least not for us right now. But that's because your presence as a guiding influence has been revealed. Earlier, when I hadn't realized you were there, it was more difficult to discern. I could have gone on for quite a while, not realizing the instructions were anything other than spontaneous ideas from my own imagination, if you hadn't gotten too greedy. What can I say? They're called succulents for a reason. And apparently that reason is that they are delicious. No, I mean, it started being too obvious. Your personality bled through to an extent that was impossible to ignore until the spell was broken. But if someone with a lot of skill gave it a try, there's no reason why you couldn't keep providing commands indefinitely, with the commandee none the wiser. Well, on second thought, that sure sounds sinister as shit. I'd like to point out. 8 exclamation points. In the wrong hands, maybe, but don't worry. It's just part of the plan. The evil plan? Evil is a very reductive word. I prefer to think of it as just a regular-ass plan. Is all the other stuff in here part of the regular-ass plan, then? Something like that. There's a whole lot of junk? Wow. I haven't smelled some of this garbage in years. Oh, wait. Is that... Ah! Blah! Ah! Ugh! Everything in here is so dusty. That's what you get for nosing around in our secret storeroom. I'd ask you not to contaminate the ectobiological equipment with your own genetic material, but... Yeah, too late. Sorry. Whatever, I was just about to clean it anyways. I don't see what's so secret about this place anyways. I mean, there are only 3 of us on this ship. It's not like there's anyone to even hide things from, or anything worth hiding for that matter. What's this over here in the corner? Underneath this big sheet thing. Don't look in there. Oh, shh, I'm only taking a peek. Terezi, listen to me. I just looked at the cover a little ways. Terezi, please stop talking right now. Dirk, holy shit. Terezi stops talking immediately, her mind suddenly free in any and all inclination to take a look what's behind the curtain. What curtain? In fact, she is quite certain there have never been and never will be any object covered by fabric located anywhere in the storeroom. Ah, you asshole. I did actually ask you to stop. Okay, actually, fuck this. What am I doing here? Why am I even wasting my time watching you run around in your stupid room full of trash talking to yourself? I've got a ship to crash. She turns towards the door and walks out, past the command station, down the hallway, and into the control room, where she begins the necessary preparations from taking the Theseus out of orbit and down to the planet below. Dirk, get the show on the road. Tidying all finished? In order of speaking, I've given Terezi the all clear. I kind of just pissed her off enough to kick this whole thing off once and for all. Okay, so I guess today is finally the day everything's been heading towards. You could put it like that, yeah. At least we're aiming to frame it that way. Our actions from this point on will form part of a crucial inner mechanism, tucked away behind the tightly sealed metallic service hatch of reality. One which will be of our own creation, but which by all practical considerations might as well has always been there. And if we're successful, the distinction won't be significant enough to matter to just about anybody. They'll be too busy getting their mind sticks collectively blown. Did you say that we're imploring people to suck on this? Oh, absolutely. Get the hand-illuminated invitations ready on the fucking double. Hilarious Philotroid inventory notwithstanding, there's something about today that feels exciting? I can understand that. We've been waiting a long time. I was going to say portentous, with both the positive and negative connotations that word usually has. You've got misgivings, then. I wouldn't even go so far as to call it that. What I'm feeling is hard to explain to someone who is not inextricably linked with the very concept of fortune. The sensation probably doesn't even have a name, come to think of it. Not too many people have ever been in our position before. Just about none, I'd bet. Right. But if I had to describe it, I'd say that misgivings, hunches, doubts, and so on are supported on a foundation of unknowing. And along with that absence of knowledge comes a commensurate feeling of dread or worry, fear about the potential calamity yet to come. On the other hand, while feelings of positive anticipation tend to stem from a lack of certainty about the future, the presumption of good fortune allows the uncertainty to become excitement. It's the glee of a child who knows not what the gift contains, but can evaluate from prior experience that's likely something good. Can't empathize. Dirk, you are tragically capable of sucking all joy and convivial sentiment out of basically every situation you find yourself in. Thanks! Anyway, this feeling you were talking about. I take it that we're not dealing with either giddy enthusiasm or paranoid foreboding, then. No, my point is that the present moment feels like neither of these 2 cases. But crucially, it's not because there is nothing to anticipate. Far from it. Instead, it feels like the very notion of fortune is simply out of the question as a means of describing the potential outcome. As though in this moment, luck isn't either real or not real or somewhere in between, but an absence of meaning completely. Luck just took one look at our itinerary from here on out and said, "You'll just have to go on without me." Luck rolled over on the other side of the dictionary and said, "Not tonight, sweetheart. I've got a wicked fucking headache." Exactly! Except now I'm the one with the migraine. Well, whatever that means, it doesn't sound good. I didn't even know that robots could get headaches. I'd say it's more of an ontological, existential headache. That describes basically everything that's ever happened to us until now. And also sounds fake as shit. There's something to say that take the weight off your mind? For what it's worth, I think we've got this point writing at a level experts might describe as pretty solid. We scanned for suburban technology, so we know this for sure is the right planet. Wheels are already in motion, all that. This thing is on lockdown, hermetically sealed even. Shit's tighter than a pair of English-occupied micro shorts. You aren't going to believe this, but it turns out the deranged 20 ramblings of a spurned anime-obsessive have essentially no therapeutic properties whatsoever. And contrary to common wisdom, talking about the problem doesn't seem to have eased my state of mind either. I doubt you could say anything that would make it feel better. If anything, I feel worse now than I already did. Like the notion I was trying to describe was so conceptually insubstantial, so resistant to concrete definition with any meaningful frame of reference. Even thinking about it as an idea made me somehow existentially unsound. And not the way I used to always feel back before John made the choice to validate our canonical existences axiomatically. Foreboding I can deal with. I'm a seer, soothes her mind to say. But this is different. Well, if talking about it didn't help, maybe talking about how it felt to talk about it might just enlarge the problem geometrically. Fair point. Despite what she thinks, little by little, Rose begins to feel her head clear of concern, semantically dubious or otherwise. Her understanding of my extended existence does include this degree of meta-narrative potency. Her doubts to my word's healing powers are understandable. I don't take it personally. For someone whose sense of self is so boundless as infinite as an ascended prince of hearts, the fact that I'm able to perceive something in any way other than personally might come as a surprise. But then again, taking things in stride is basically my whole deal at this stage. You might even call it my namesake. And so it's with a stony expression of implacable calm that I endure the increasingly violent tremors now coursing through the Theseus. It begins to breach the new planet's stratosphere. Vibrations unwilling to turn even the most adamant of stomachs to a nauseous froth. With brow unfurrowed and mouth pixel perfectly horizontal, I was doing the spasmodic adjustments and course corrections, which together comprised the rambunctious intellectual roadway of a chaotic, lawful, alien woman with a voracious appetite for alchemically discolored ornamental plants. All manner of shit goes tumbling to the floor, walls, ceiling, and I don't even seem to bat an eyelid. Or maybe that's just because my shades are in the way. In the face of impossible stupidity, I'm unfazed as ever. Because while the external world roils and heaves and shits itself like nothing else, there's one thing I can always count on. As you know, I have many splinters. So many, I used to find it overwhelming to contemplate them all. Depressing, actually. It was a feeling I could never escape from. The feeling that my sense of self was limitless. That I was forced to exist a small facet of my own potential while drowning in an ocean of my greater persona, and all the terrible things I was fully capable of. I was trapped as a limited version of myself who was still burdened by the concern for what it meant to be good, struggling to keep myself from drowning in an overwhelming body of potential which had no concern for human morality whatsoever. But that struggle finally ended a few years ago. My head isn't fighting even to stay above the water anymore. There isn't even a metaphorical head to speak of. I'm only the water now. It's proven to be an immensely comforting way for me to exist. It reminds me of the feelings I had during long nights alone, looking out over the dark ocean which surrounded me, the ocean that effectively raised me because nothing else was around to do it. During those lonely nights, I spent many hours wondering what would happen, what would even be the difference if I jumped in and never came up, if I simply disappeared. But now I finally have. I've disappeared into the infinity of myself, and I am magnificent. What's that noise I'm hearing? It sounds a little bit like a cat being caught in a ventilation fan. A sort of inhuman screeching combined with the grinding sound of metal. Are we even going to make it to the ground? Oh no, the ship's fine as far as I can tell. That's just Terezi laughing. Oh, she's enjoying this, isn't she? I suppose so. What? The mood is kind of infectious, actually. I suppose it's time we had a little fun around here. Glad to hear it. Rose? Yes, Dirk. How do you feel about games? you notice at the bottom, SPH Jified to be continued. And that's it from me. Bye-bye.